Hello, everybody. Welcome to Everybody Matters, our Family and Friends edition. I'm Jill Catherine, the host of our chats, and very happy to be here this month to have a conversation with you all about how you can best support your loved one who may be struggling with an eating disorder or disordered eating or a negative body image. So what we aim to do on our monthly videos here is to give you some insights that can hopefully in a broad way give you some framework to work from that you can then internalize and connect to the specifics of your situation. All of our loved ones are unique, and so whatever your family's struggling with or your loved one is obviously personal to them and to you. So I do my best to speak in more broad terms and then to really find how that relates to your situation. So we have a big collection of videos that you can tune into of the past that really gets into some specific eating disorder 101 type of things of how you can set up a treatment team and some real basic, logistical steps it requires for you, or not requires of you, but is really important for someone who is struggling and needs support, what those components are. What we do now is just give you some deeper insights, right? Some conversations, some concepts, some ways of thinking and connecting with your loved one. So a couple things I wanted to bring to your attention is every week we do our virtual chat for people in recovery. And I love to give you some insights into what those conversations are because I think that could be helpful to you. To hear through the perspective of a group of individuals at all different stages of life and ages and who live in different parts of the country too. So it just gives you, sort of different perspectives. And, one of the things that we really dug into today on our call had to do about our belief systems. And so one of the questions that I posed was, are your beliefs supporting what you desire? And so let me take a step back. So I shared with them a quote of, an author in the world, Glennon Doyle, who wrote Love Warrior. And one of the things, and she's someone who has struggled with an eating disorder and other forms, and alcohol. And one of the things that she has said that I thought was really helpful that we built our chat around was she's said, I used to spend all my time and energy was about being desired. I used to think about how can I be desired by other people, meaning we're so many of us are seeking love and approval and love and approval. And approval and approval. We're seeking approval from all these other people in the world. We want this person we want our mom to approve us. We want our dad. We want our teacher. We want our coach. We want our clergy. We want our best friends. We want everyone to approve of us, and love us and like us and love us and approve of us, right? And so, Glennon had said how she spent so much of her life desiring wanting to be desired by others until she finally then realized it's about what do I desire. So it's the same coin but a different side. So the thought processes of I want to be desired. If you flip it around, the other side is what do I desire? Actually, what do I desire? So when we're not outsourcing our approval and our need to be desired by everyone else, and we can just say to ourselves, actually, wait, what do I actually desire? What do I want? What intrigues me? What lights me up? What do I desire? A funny thing happens. It's a totally different shift in one's relationship to their self and their self-esteem. And so that's one of the things we were talking about in our group. And it was a very engaging conversation about that, where that we so often, people don't think, well, I don't even ask myself what I desire. And think about your loved one, right? I mean, your loved one could be a young person, right? Could be a young teen. Your loved one could be middle-aged, right? But is there space in your relationship with them for you to encourage that conversation and ask them, what do they desire? Does your loved one even think that they can ask themselves what they desire, what they actually desire for themselves? Or is your loved one just constantly trying to get your approval and trying to meet your expectation? And if that's the case, and you might really like that, you might want them to give away their power to you and to always need your approval. But is that helping them? You know, one of the hardest things in recovery is how this affects family dynamics, parents, partners, friends. Because the person who's suffering, as they start to heal, it's going to change all these dynamics of these relationships. And it might change in ways that you don't like. You might have liked having that dynamic of your loved one wanting your approval. You know, as a parent, you might think, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. And I don't know what's your truth and what's right for you. All I know is that in the seat of one recovering, it is essential for them to self-claim what it is that they desire. That they're no longer outsourcing their need to be approved by their partner, by their parents. Because that need to be approved by you or someone else relates to every other aspect. It comes from the same place. It comes from the same source. Whether it's you, a partner, a friend, if that is there, it will exist in many aspects of their life. And that sense of self-worth that they give away to everyone else is a critical piece of the foundation of a human, that they're going to need to relay those bricks in a way that the foundation is from within. It's not getting approval for others. So if your loved one is younger, perhaps there's still opportunities to influence and encourage and to share your wisdom and knowledge and shape and guide. But the point is, what do they actually want that's unique to them? What do they desire as opposed to what you desire, even if your loved one's older, as opposed to what you desire for them? What do they actually desire for themselves? And you can play an incredible support role for them if you could be willing to give them space and to engage in conversation that helps them to identify what it is that they desire. If you're willing to do that, you can be a help for them if they might not even thought. I mean, there's people on our chat who said, I never even thought to ask, what is it that I actually desire? Right? They never thought that they could even ask themselves that question. But if we're all born into this world and no fingerprints two are alike, so we're all unique, it's in the most rational thought that each of us uniquely are going to have something that speaks to us, which is a beautiful thing, because we were born as this unique human. So it's a small thing, but it's a big thing. It's instead of giving away of my need to be desired, to say, what do I desire? So I encourage you to bring that to your loved one in a way that makes sense for you. So then the next part of that is saying, okay, what do I believe, and is that matching up to what I actually desire? And that's something we begin to explore. And, so much of this recovery work and let me take a step back. So much of the issues that we have around food and body aren't about food and body. They're about life. They're about worthiness. They're about confidence. They're about self. Giving ourselves, learning how to be connected with our power, who we are, who we really are, the person who's the boss inside of us. And all the stuff around food and body, it's all a distraction. Food can be a way that we cope. It could be a way that we numb. Our obsession with thinness can be a way that we think we'll eventually find happiness. So what we always talk about in these chats is nothing about that. What I mean in terms of, it's about the deeper stuff. It's not about the weight loss or the weight gain. It's not about the food reduction or the food intake. What it's really about is finding meaning and purpose and a connection to oneself, to being fed in that way, to finding meaning in that way in their life. The stuff around food and body, that can start to work itself out when we can start to really get at the root. So there is always a root to these problems. It's just like an alcoholic, right? They can have genetically predisposition to alcoholic or drugs. But that's the symptom, the addiction. But there's a root to that, right? The emotional turmoil within, that relationship here within, which then that relationship resulting into all these other things out there. It's the same thing here, right? It's just way more complicated when it comes to eating disorder, disordered eating, body image stuff, because food is a substance that we have to have. You can avoid alcohol and drugs. You don't need that in your life, right? If that's your substance of choice. Food you need. You have to have it. So it makes it way more complicated. And secondly, it makes it even more complicated is the confusing messages that our society and our world has around bodies and shapes and sizes and what health looks like, what fitness looks like, and how we understand bodies is super confusing. So it is double loaded, right? So, because, the mainstream of our culture would say, just everyone's trying to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds. Oh, it's all about just lose weight. It's all about weight loss. It's all about having a thinner body, for the majority of people. It's all about, exercise more, eat less, right? It's these constant messages that all our problems of the world will be solved if we just exercise more and ate less, which is really a dumbification of anything that relates to a body. That, just like we all have individual fingerprints, every single person's body is a unique shape and a unique size and a unique weight. But we have so much fat phobia and fat biases and confusion around fatter bodies and judgments around that's way too complicated that I can try to address in the purpose of this video chat. But I say that because that's what adds to the complexity of even you supporting your loved one. You might be bought into your own beliefs and biases around bodies and shapes and sizes. There are 2 really great books that help to open your mind to understanding bodies and size a little differently. And one is called The Body of Truth. It's by Harriet Brown. It's a phenomenal book that has all this research that will blow your mind around body sizes and what we've been taught to believe. And the second one is called Health at Every Size by Linda Bacon. And that's another, it's just mind-blowing because we've been so brainwashed to think this type of thin body is a healthy body and all this. We're so confused. We've just been taught to think this one thing, and there's a whole big story here. And each of our bodies are all unique. And, so I encourage you that's a big part of it. How you can support your loved one is saying, okay, let me just give a little time and attention to reading a couple of different things that just might expand my awareness. Because your loved one is going to not only have to expand their awareness, but they're going to have to break it wide open because the beliefs that they have been bought into about themselves and their bodies and their emotions and their purpose and their value are not serving them. The whole beliefs around bodies, and it's not serving them. It's caused great confusion and pain and distraction. And like I said, there's a root to all of this for everyone that's not even about the body, that's not even about the food, but that they'll have to eventually get to through some, hopefully, therapeutic support. Once you can start addressing this root, then you start to crash open the next layer of all this body stuff and all this society stuff. You gotta it's like a piñata. You just have to take all these swings at that until it cracks wide open. And then there's the prize. And when you can crack open, the piñata of lies around our bodies, and you get the prize, which is you just get to be yourself in the body that is right for you. Maybe not right for anybody else, but right for you. And you get to figure out how to be in that body. And meaning, how do I manage emotions in this body? How do I manage moving this body? How do I manage living in this body? Right? Because this body is what I have. It's not an object. It's not an ornament. It's my home. So they're going to have to crack that wide open. You don't have to crack it open for you. You could peek, and which would be really helpful, because here's where the next part is. Because the next part is they're going to need community of some people who get it. And that's why we do our online chats, because we need to be around people who get it, right? Because we all have different perspectives. So if you can even just crack through your piñata a little bit and start to see, okay, right, I can understand this in some way. And you don't have to change your whole life per se. Maybe you will, maybe not. But if you can at least start to understand how your loved one is going to have that journey. Whether or not you take a journey is up to you, but at least they can feel like, and you can express to them that you're there to support them. You're there to support them. So, to recap, we is really digging into asking ourselves what it is that I desire, right? Encouraging your loved one to ask yourself, wait a minute, what is it that you desire? And helping them, because if they might not know, right? Little by little. And then next step is starting to, explore with them. Well, what do you believe about that? So if, say, your loved one desired, I really want to do this in my life. Is your first thing you're to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Well, why not? Why wouldn't I be able to do that? Right? So do you have limiting beliefs that you're passing along to them? And then they're adopting those beliefs, Because here's the thing, and we'll end with this, is that we all have a right to believe whatever it is we want. right? And so whatever you might believe could work for you, but that same belief might cause so much destruction in their life because it doesn't go with what they desire. So the question is, do you love them and more than having the same beliefs? If that's what they're going to need to recover, are they going to need to believe that they're capable and competent and strong and powerful and can do what it is that they want to do? So it's being willing to allow our loved ones to adapt and adopt new beliefs that work in a way that feels right to them that works for them now as they go through that process. And you giving them the space to do that, and potentially doing it with each other would be really helpful. So I wish you good luck and do what's right for you, but just a little insight into what their process looks like moving forward. Thanks for tuning in.